the Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Broadcasting from the Evergreen Media Network Studios in Vero Beach, Florida. It's Huntin with Heather.
Hey y'all, welcome to Huntin with Heather. I am your host, Heather Hawk. This is season 1, episode 6. Thank you to everyone who's come back to listen to another episode. And to those who are new, this show is dedicated to all those who love to hunt, love the outdoors, and those who want to learn more. Whether you're a seasoned hunter, a green hunter, this show's going to be packed full of information. We're going to talk deer, turkey, and everything in between. So grab a seat, sit back, and let's talk hunting. Before I introduce my guest today, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, All Star Plumbing, for all your commercial and residential plumbing services. All right, y'all. So today my guest is Mike French, aka the Florida Woodsman.
Howdy, howdy, y'all.
Hey, hey. Welcome back. I am really excited to have you back because we touched on several different subjects the last time you were here. We were just getting into, I believe, archery. Mm-hmm. Had we started yet, or it was getting ready to, right?
I was looking at my picture, so we didn't start yet. Yeah.
So we've been in archery for a good month now, and now we're in our second week of black powder. Mm-hmm. And you have a black powder hunt. Did you have one last weekend?
I did not, no.
Okay.
So we were kind of getting ready for our hunt. We've got one this weekend.
Right.
So
which was a quota hunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Public land, if you will, quota hunter on public land.
Yep.
So those can always be tricky at times.
Pretty fun.
And fun, yeah, right. Yeah, definitely.
It's not necessarily edibles. You got to outsmart people.
This is very true. So very true.
You're playing both sides.
Very true, yeah.
Born in the city in Miami, I could, I'm used to doing that part, but then, trying to get the hang of what's going on in the woods was what's been getting me for the last, however many years.
And it's funny. I mean, it's a total different ball game, right?
Yep.
So, but it is a game. So not just with the animals, but with people too, especially when you're hunting.
You got to try to figure out where you got to get deep.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we hunt a specific. Well, and you've hunted there too. A specific management area. It's not wide.
It's not very big.
The one that we're hunting this weekend.
Oh, the one you're hunting is not very wide.
It's not very wide. So as far as getting very deep in there,
you don't really have to.
You don't have to, but no. Man, I've been way back in the Myrtles, thinking no one is going to be, and here comes a guy walking right by me, and I'm like.
Well, it's because you're so in short of a span,
right.
So, guys have to get past you to probably go. So you just got to kind of just get off the beaten path.
Right.
You've been out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think you benefit from not having a rifle season there either. So
we do have muzzle loader, though.
There's muzzle loader, but there's no regular rifle. So you do archery. And then, so I think it gives the deer, a little bit more opportunity to get comfortable, around there. Sure. Yeah. So not much gun shooting going on.
No. And we did have archery hunt there a couple weeks ago. Not successful, but then someone went out, I think it was last weekend, their first weekend of muzzleloader, and got a really nice buck. It was sent to me by a friend who works at one of the camps around there that they have, Grape Hammock.
Yep.
So it was sent to me. Man, I don't know, did John show it to you?
No, he didn't. He sent me some pictures, but...
Okay, well, I'll have to show it to you after the show, but it was a nice buck.
That's awesome.
I'm like, oh man.
I'm hoping. I'm chasing one out there right now. He looks like a minotaur. If you know what a minotaur is, it's like a half man, half like deer or ram.
Yeah.
Where they have that kind of current. He's got one main beam and it's just huge and it circles back and then comes forward. I wish I could give you that picture so I could put it up on the screen, but yeah.
And then what's his other one look like?
I had a few of them. What? No, they're both
like
that way. Yeah, there's a lot of where we hunt back there, where you've hunted with me.
Yeah,
there's a lot of bad genetics. I mean, the deer's bodies are, the body of the deer is always nice. It's always healthy, but for some reason, I don't know if it's something to do with what they pass down to each other or what they're eating. I mean, there's
Sure.
plenty of food sources. They're eating the acorns and they're eating off the myrtles.
Right.
They're eating, they're eating everything back. There's
Yeah.
food source. I think it's part of the genetics.
It is a lot to do with that. If one was injured, that can make a big difference too on how their antler grows back the next year too.
And the one I shot, the first one I shot out there had a main beam and was a 4-point, but he had 14-inch main beams. So there was nothing broke off. It was just like a genetic thing. No brow tines.
Right.
You know what
It's
I mean?
just
So
how...
it's there's.
And
I'm not hunting for the antlers. You know what I mean? I'm there for the meat.
right.
So it's.
But
I mean, if I shoot a nice 10-point, okay, great. You know what I mean? But if I'm not really out there, if it's legal.
And in Florida regulations, we have to have it's 10-inch, at least a 10-inch main beam, right? Or 3 points on one side.
Yep.
So it has to be one or the other. So, I mean, we do have regulations. And doe season's over, so we're not shooting does. So it's all bucks now. And so let me tell you, though, I'm hoping that redemption is mine this weekend. And the reason being, I don't know if you've heard this story, but when I was at Kika, I just gave it away, but when I was there last time, I was in the Myrtles and I was during black powder and I missed the biggest buck that I had ever seen in Florida.
Did you shoot at it? You did?
Oh, yeah.
Archery?
No.
Muzzleloader?
Muzzleloader. And it was so close. I was in a blind, like he came out of nowhere. My girlfriend was sitting next to me. She's like, oh my gosh. But I mean, it was just this whole thing that went down. It was crazy. I shot.
You shoot over them or shoot
I
under?
have no idea how I even missed, but I was so distraught because he was like the biggest deer I'd ever shot or seen. And I missed so close that I was so freaked out. And John wasn't that far away. He's like, tell her to reload. I couldn't even get myself into, I couldn't reload it. I was so like, I mean, I think I cried. I know.
Well, you have the first 3 seconds after you shoot that muzzle loader. You don't even know what happened.
No, you're true. Because like, poof.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of smoke. Boom, smoke all over the place.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I
I
mean?
was
So you're
just like
trying to clear it.
Yeah, but I didn't. And sometimes there's not blood, but we looked and it was, I'm serious. I like just the emotions just like
You guys still getting him on camera?
I don't know.
You haven't seen him?
Mm-mm.
No?
And he was old. Like he was an older buck because just his coloring, his girth.
You'll get one this year.
So I'm hoping.
You will.
I'm really hoping that redemption's mine because it's been a few years since then. So
archery busted for me. So
I
had a couple situations happen. I had 2 spots set up, and we talked about this when we ate lunch that day when we hunted.
Yeah.
I set up in a blind because I had pictures from my cell camera. Those cell cameras are like a curse and a blessing at the same time because you know what walks by there at what time.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I set up in my blind because I had a nice buck coming out at my blind. I set up, and then at 11 o'clock or whatever, or 10:30, that nice buck walks by my stand. My tree stand.
Right. Oh,
so
yeah.
it's always in the opposite. So it's a joke. I told Joe, I said, why don't you sit in one of my stands and I'll sit in the blind and we'll
Just in
definitely
case.
kill something. We'll shoot something.
Let's tag team.
But
this,
he sat in his, and if we would have did that, we would have actually one of us would have came home with something. But I mean, that's all part of it. You know what I mean? That's what makes you come back.
Oh, for
sure.
sure.
Yesterday I get my cell cam sends me a picture of my blind blown away. So I've had it set out there since archery, and the thing blew like 100 yards from where, thank God, a palmetto had stopped it because it would have just kept rolling into the next county.
Yeah.
So I ended up riding there after work, going, setting it back up, tying it down.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I did that one year on a specific spot next to the river, and we were turkey hunting, and a storm had come through the night before as I was like getting ready to leave. And I thought John had tied the blind down well enough. And I even tried to tie it down a little bit. All right. So I pack out, meet John at the truck. He's like, did you tie the blind down? And I'm like, you didn't before when you set it up? And he was like, well, no. I said, well, I did a little bit. He's like, well, you better hope it's there in the morning. So fast forward to the morning, I walk in and I can't find my blind anywhere.
Am I lost?
Yeah, the chair's there.
You saw the chair.
I have my chair's there. I have turkey decoys all just blown all because I had several decoys and they were just blown all over this field. can't find my blind. It's dark. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to make the best of it.
Sit in a chair.
I sat the chair up behind some brush and found what I could of the decoys. I know there was a few like laying on the ground that I couldn't find, and set them up. And
how was the morning?
So it was great. I heard them. They were close by. Like the sun's coming up, and I look, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's my blind. It was way over in the myrtles, all like destroyed and stuff. And I'm like, whatever. It didn't get a turkey, but they were close. And you know what? You just got to make the best of it.
You know, mine was staked down too. That's the kicker about it.
So we must have had some pretty good wins.
I staked all 4 corners, but I didn't use those guide wire, the ropes that it comes with. Joe didn't put one stake in his blind, and his was in the same spot. I mean, I checked them both because they were in the same. Make sure his didn't blow away too. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the way that worked out.
I know.
So.
It's crazy.
It's okay. That's all part of it.
It's all part of it.
It's all the game we play.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. Well, I am really looking forward to this weekend because I feel like the rut is really. People are like, oh, the rut's been happening. And I'm not saying there's not been some pre-rut happening, but I really feel like, for me, what I've seen, I feel like muzzleloader is our rutting season here in Orlando. I mean, or not Orlando. I'm saying in
Central
the mid
Florida,
Central Florida. Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think they're having babies all year. I think. You know, I've seen. You know, I know there may be a certain season, but I think they're chasing all year. But it does get probably a little bit more. It's not like once you get up to like North Florida, where there's scrapes. There's rubs everywhere.
Yeah.
They got their nose down and you know what I mean? I've never really experienced that. I've only kind of heard about it, and but I've never got to hunt in that. As far as I've went is probably Ocala. Yeah. You know, to hunt, you know.
Well, I can definitely tell you there is a big difference for me. What I've seen, I've hunted a lot here, but we have a lease in North Florida. I hunt North Georgia. I've hunted Missouri. What a difference.
You see the difference up there, right?
Oh my goodness,
like,
the scrapes. No, I do see rubs along around
here,
but I wasn't really educated on the scrapes until I was in actually
like,
Missouri,
what is that going on
in
there?
North Georgia, grunting. Like, I'm not saying they don't grunt here, but I've heard my grunting in North Georgia, North Florida. And I mean, it's oh man, it's just a whole different ballpark. You know, I feel like
I had them grunt the archery a lot.
Yeah.
Like I was to the point where I thought it was another hunter. You know,
it's
that I swear to you, I thought it was somebody else hunting.
Yeah.
And they were calling back to me, and I heard it, and I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? It was a 2-3 real short grunts, you know, and they were pretty deep, so it had to be a bigger buck, you know. And then it sounded like it was getting closer, so I knew that I would grunt, and then I'd do a little doe bleating, you know, and he would be kind of talking to me, and I told Joe about it. I said I never really heard bucks get that vocal, you know, to the point where I thought it was another hunter until it was getting closer.
When I was just up in North Georgia for archery up there, I had one that was, grunting like behind me and just grunting and grunting. I was like, I've never heard. It was crazy. But all right, on that note, we got a break. So we'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned.
When it comes to service, All Star Plumbing gets all 5 stars. In fact, here's a real 5-star review.
After having 2 leaks in our copper pipes, we decided to have our home repiped by All Star Plumbing. All Star did the repiping and also arranged for someone to cut, patch, and repaint the drywall. We are very pleased and highly recommend them.
For faucet installation, plumbing leak detection, and pipe repair, in addition to new construction, repiping, remodel, and all other plumbing services, call 772-794-9611. All Star Plumbing.
Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, and Carl Perkins. The $1 Million Quartet.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine.
Based on a true story, this show brings their extraordinary talents and personalities to life. The magic of the $1 Million Quartet. It's not just a show. It's the celebration of the music that defined a generation. Now playing at Vero's Riverside Theater through November 12th. Get your tickets now at the box office or riversidetheater.com.
Vero Beach. Are you ready to light up the night? Join us beachside Saturday, November 4th from 5 to 9 p.m. for the 5th annual Beach Bonfire event. Stroll Ocean Drive and visit Heaton's at Vero Beach Hotel and Spa, The Boiler, Mulligan's, Costa Dieste, and Waldo's. Great food and music will be present at each location. Pick up your travel card for a $20 donation. Have it stamped at each location to get a chance to win great prizes. Donations to benefit Veterans Council of Indian River County.
Paris Family Chiropractic understands after a long day in the woods, tracking and hunting, your back might be crying out louder than a call to the wild. Paris Family Chiropractic specializes in back, neck, and shoulder pain relief, carpal tunnel, disc injury treatment, headaches and migraines, sciatica treatment, and so much more. Get back to your prime hunting form. Visit ParisFamilyChiro.com and schedule your appointment today. Paris Family Chiropractic, Vero Beach.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Huntin' with Heather. I have my guest on with me today, Mike French from Florida Woodsman.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we've been talking all kinds of hunting, obviously, but we've been talking just when we went for a break, we were talking about deer signs, listening to them grunting, feeling like up north maybe you get a little more signs, and they're probably going to people are going to be like, okay, no, discrepancies about this. But I just feel like up north, it seems that they do those, you can pattern them better a little bit more too, meaning like finding the scrapes, finding the rubs. We do have a lot of swamp here, so as far as rubs go.
I mean, scrubs, like scrapes,
the rubs,
you mean?
Scrapes, I mean, yeah, scrapes, I'm sorry. Scrapes, that's kind of hard. You can find rubs, I don't say, but
I've seen a couple scrapes down here in some of the wildlife management, but nothing like when we went up to Georgia and saw me and my buddy Joe. There's a lot of scraping, a lot of rubbing. I don't really see it here. Like you do. I'll find the rub lines.
Sure.
I rarely see the scrapes.
Do you use any kind of scents, like or whether it's to cover up, or do you use any like the estrus?
I mean, it's hard to cover your scent up, especially during archery, because by the time you get to your stand, I use his bikes like we talked about last time. Yeah. Even getting off the bike, walking to my stand, I'm sweating bullets. You know what I mean? So there's really no way to like control your scent. You're just gonna have to hunt the wind.
Very true.
I mean, and in Florida, the wind don't stay consistent. It'll swirl. It'll come from the other way in 10 minutes.
Oh, it
you know
does.
what I mean? So it's funny like that.
I'm such a firm believer in using scents, and it's funny because my husband John is like
the opposite.
Yeah, he doesn't want to use. He's like, I don't want to use call. The only thing he'll use call obviously is during turkey season. He could care less about using scents, using cover up. Now, I mean, he's not going to go put on cologne or anything like that. But he's like, honestly, Heather, it's the wind. Yeah. You can use all those things, and he said, but if that wind is against you, it doesn't matter.
An old timer told me that a long time ago. He's like, he killed more deer than I know anybody, and he smokes cigarettes while he's hunting in the blind. You know what I mean? He don't, and he's like, Mike, you just got to hunt to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to know where the deer are going to be coming from and where they're going to smell your scent from.
And what's so cool is now with these apps, and I mean, they've had the apps out for a while, you can put like where your spot is, what is the best wind direction. It'll
show you where, like, hunt stand. You use that?
No.
On hunt stand, they give you a circumference of how many yards out you are. If there's anything, a road or anything, you're clear of it. It gives you the 100-yard ring. Nice. And then it also gives you the wind direction. It'll show like a red as if you're directional in that map, and it'll show you which way it'll be moving. Yeah. Usually it's pretty right, but like I said, it doesn't really stay consistent.
Yeah. I mean, and it makes a big difference too, how you walk in, if they're, and walking out or walking back into your stand and the afternoon hunt or coming out. I mean, you could really get very technical with it. And some people do, some people just head in and just, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot.
I mean, I try to avoid where I see trails. Right. I try not to walk a trail. If I know that deer or those hogs are using a trail, I try not to walk over it. Have you had it? Yeah. I've had cameras set up to where I've just walked through an area and here come a big 8-point behind me or a 10-point behind me an hour later, not even really caring. So.
I've seen them dead stop though, like smell it, dead stop, back and turn around. Where I've walked, where I've walked in. Walked into, the spot where I was hunting, and they literally, I've seen them. I've
right where
them,
you walked.
Right where I walked.
I've seen pigs do that. I haven't seen a deer do it, but I mean, I've seen deer dead stop and stomp. One of them stomped my bike during archery.
Really?
I had 3 does come in. Everything was fine. The wind was great. They were behind me. The wind was at my back.
Yeah.
And they were behind me. They walked up on my bike, which was about 30 yards away, and she half stomped her foot and like half blew. And she was trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah,
like she did it again, and then a third time, and then she just turned away and walked away. She didn't run or anything.
That's
didn't
good.
put her tail up and run.
That's good.
But she saw the bike.
It's like, what is that?
Yeah, she was like, what?
Yeah. No, I know. That's crazy. All right. So the last time we were here, we talked about eating certain parts of the animal or the deer, and I had never had the heart. You were like, you got to try it.
I wasn't.
And I tried it. Y'all. It was my doe. I got a big doe up in North Georgia during archery, and so I'm like, all right, I'm doing this.
And she monkeyed up to the heart because she shot it in the heart.
I did shoot it in the heart.
She made the $1 million shot.
I did. I made it. I'm not gonna lie. I will brag on that. I made a great shot. She didn't go 40 or whatever. But anywho, so it's really cool because when you open up the heart, I mean, you literally see like the heartstrings, a little bit, and all that. So I seasoned it all up. What I did was we had made some bacon. We were doing some jalapeno wraps. So I used a little bit of the bacon grease, some onions, a little bit of butter, seasoned up the heart, sliced it up, put it in, we sauteed it. Delicious. I mean, and my friends Wayne and Lulu, we both were like, okay, we're doing this again.
Was that their first time too? Or?
No, it was Lulu's first time, but Wayne had been years. And so he was like, man, like 40 years probably. And so he was like, yeah, this is actually pretty good.
It's pretty good.
So I'm curious to see, I want to try it maybe a couple different ways, like frying it. I don't know, would you bread it?
No, the way I do it a very simple way. I just steak it up. I make meat donuts out of it. If the heart is filled in the center with all those little vessels and everything. Yeah. So what I do is I cut it down the side, lay it out, and I fillet that out, but then I cross slice it so you end up with these big C's of meat. And then it's about inch thick, and I take them and I sear them in a pan with just Everglades seasoning.
That's what we did.
And fish and chicken is what I use. I don't use the regular Everglades.
You don't use the green one?
Yeah, if you've never tried Everglades fish and chicken, you need to try it.
All right, I'm going to definitely.
I put some of the dusted with that, and then a little bit of olive oil, some butter in the pan, and just sear it to where it's like, a little pink in the middle. And man, that is the bee's knees. All
right, Wayne and Lulu. Here, when I come back up, that's what we're doing. We're going to try it that way. Okay, so I have another part I heard that you eat, and I actually watched a couple videos on it because I couldn't believe it. But I asked Mike the other day when we were talking if it was a specific part, and he was like naming off all these, parts of the body of the deer, and I'm like, no, of course he said Rocky Mountain oysters, all these different parts of liver. No, it's none of that. Have you ever heard of eating the fat behind the eyeball?
Mm-mm.
Okay, right. I was like super shocked. And so apparently it tastes like dough.
Oh yeah.
You don't cook it. You just eat it right out of the eyeball, from the eyeball. And it literally tastes like bread dough.
I probably go for the bread dough instead of the regular bread dough instead of the
Really? You wouldn't try it?
I wouldn't, no. I read too many things about stuffing the deer's heads that can get you sick. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to try it because they're like, oh, it's really good.
Yeah, I'd be careful.
Okay. Well, man, you got to try it.
Well, like I said, I've read things about eating stuff out of the head, and I know we're not this far south with the chronic waste disease, but there's a lot of things like the brain and the eyes and everything in the head that it holds a lot of that kind of stuff that could harm us as humans. So I try to stay away from that kind of stuff.
I will let you know how it tastes because I'm going to definitely try it.
You're still standing? maybe I'll try.
Thanks, man. All right, well, we got to wrap this show up. It has been fun. It goes by too quick. And I want to say thank you to everyone who listens, and good luck this weekend, Zone C, Muzzleloader, and to all my other friends out there hunting this weekend. Mike, good luck, buddy.
You too. Fire them up, baby. Fire
Peace
them up.
out. Get in the woods.